morning, everyone. Wanted to do a really quick video blog in regards to dental and vision insurance. This has come up a lot with clients lately. So especially if you're transitioning from group insurance or maybe your parents' coverage and you've in the market for a new policy for an individual, these are just some things to keep in mind. The first is premiums versus benefits. So you want to ensure that the policy, even if the premium is fairly low, especially in comparison to your health insurance, is going to meet your needs based on what you want the policy to do. So you want to be able to assess whether or not the benefits that are provided by this particular policy can really help to justify the cost. Now, there's a few ways that you can go about doing this. One is how frequent you plan on using this policy. So if you're just one of these people that, goes to the dentist twice a year, maybe you go see the eye doctor once a year, and that's it, maybe you don't need that extensive of coverage. However, if you go a little bit more often or a little bit more regular, you might be able to justify the higher premiums for a little bit more comprehensive coverage. Also, your specific needs. What exactly are you looking to do with this policy? Maybe, for instance, you want to go have LASIK. Well, you want to make sure that the policy covers LASIK, and how does it cover that? Maybe it's a percentage, maybe you pay on a copay, or it could be something as simple as needing a new eyeglasses, a new prescription. So you want to make sure that you understand the coverage and how far that premium actually goes. Number two is the network availability. And we always have this conversation where insurance is concerned. So certainly make sure that the dentist and the eye doctor and any kind of specialist you might want to see is covered by the particular plan that you're looking at submitting an application for. This can be done really quickly. You can usually go to the carrier's website, or you can call your provider and see whether or not they accept that insurance. I've never had a client that's used the same dentist for 20 years that wanted to look at changing just because the insurance didn't cover it. So always remember to take a few minutes to go and do that research. Number three is the out-of-pocket maximums, and this is something that a lot of clients tend to skip over. But the out-of-pocket maximums for many of these policies are fairly significant. Dental procedures tend to be pretty costly. They're pretty expensive. So if you need this policy to have a root canal, for instance, you might want to look at a policy with a higher out-of-pocket max, because you're probably going to get to that out-of-pocket max pretty quickly, especially if you're using it for something that's a little bit more extensive, that would be considered major from the insurance company standpoint. Number four is the cost effectiveness of it. So you want to see if it is possible that it is more economical for you to pay for these services out of your pocket without having necessarily have to run it through insurance. Again, that depends on a lot of things. It depends on whether or not your dentist is in the network. It depends on how often you're planning on using it, but you want to make sure that the benefits are sufficient for your needs. And then number five is the policy details. And this is what we always discuss where insurance is concerned, but many of these type of products have waiting periods. So if you need this policy immediately to cover that root canal that we just discussed, you might want to make sure that it doesn't have a waiting period. Waiting periods on these type of products can be 6 months, it can be a year. It really depends upon the carrier and the product that you're looking at, as well as any kind of exclusions or limitations. Does the policy cover LASIK if that's why you're looking into the policy to begin with? And many of these policies do have those, so that's important to consider. So I get it, peace of mind is really important, and especially if you're coming from group insurance where you had dental and vision, you feel better about having it in place. It's just something to consider, that even with these premiums being much lower in many cases than health insurance, you want to make sure that it makes sense for your needs. One other tip before I go is sometimes you can bundle this insurance. So sometimes you can look at a policy that has dental and vision together, which tends to kind of help you with the premiums, so to speak. So I hope you find this helpful. Always reach out with any questions, and thanks so much for tuning in.